Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir. And within few minutes, we are going to start, sir. Waiting for few participants.
Okay, fine. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I think we are
Good
still.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Good
So
afternoon,
we'll
sir.
get started. We'll get started soon. Let's wait for a few more minutes. I think some more participants are joining in. Then we can start. Okay, Professor. I think let us begin. Others can join in.
Yes, sir. Just asking Professor Madasamy, sir, to get all the things started. So, They are going to start, sir.
Okay.
So, shall we start the program?
Yes, ma'am.
A very good and warm afternoon to everyone here. It is our pleasure to welcome you all to this TechUpre sponsored webinar on topic of perspectives on implementation of National Education Policy 2020 role of faculty. The webinar is jointly organized by Adagappa Chettiar Government College of Engineering and Technology, Karikudi, Tamil Nadu, and University College of Engineering and Technology, Vinobabe University, Hazaribagh, Jharkhand.
National Education Policy 2020 may be termed as a historic effort because the NEP 2020 is the first new education policy to be introduced in India. This is 34 years ago. The new National Education Policy is a policy as it aims at making the education system holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary, and century and the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Moreover, it also aims to increase the growth enrollment ratio in education and to add new seats to higher education institutions. The sole purpose of NEP is a framework to guide the development of education in the country.
Now I kindly invite Professor Arun Kumar Mishra to deliver the welcome address. Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, on this occasion, it is really a great pleasure for me to welcome all the distinguished scholars, learners, students, faculty members of Algappa Chettiar College of Engineering Technology, simultaneously you said, and especially our guest speaker, Professor Yogesh from Cambridge Institute of Technology, Bangalore, and Dr. Praveen Kumar, who is heading the academics division at SPIU, Jharkhand. Basically, if we talk about any policy, why it is made, and if we are talking about education, then definitely it has a purpose to give the direction to the nation. In ancient time, what we used to do, education was not just for fulfilling the needs of daily lives or the life beyond schooling, but it was the aim of education for the complete realization of the self and achievement of the enlightenment. So, what has changed? We had Nalanda, we had Takshila, we had Vallavi, Vikramshila, all those recognized institutions which produced which produced thousands of scholars. People were coming from all over around the world and got the learning. Nowadays, we are trying to revive. We want to go to that place at that place when we were there, we used to lead the world. Education fulfills the need. What are the needs? To realize the full potential of human being, to develop a just society and promote the national development. For that, a good policy is needed. And simultaneously, when we talk about sustainable development goals, the fourth goal talks about quality education, inclusive and equitable quality education for all, and promoting the life learning opportunities so that people can learn. Now the scenario is changing. Unskilled workforce is most likely going to be replaced in coming futures. Why? Because the advancement in big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence will take over and machine will replace the unskilled workers. So, what is going to be needed? We have to prepare our workforce for the skill purpose, and in particular, data science, mathematics, humanities, computer science, skilled workforce is needed. Now, when we talk about skilling, the very important thing that our current education system is lagging is we are producing just a mindset in which the problem solving aspect or the critical thinking aspect is slightly lagging. Whatever we are getting right now and what is expected from industry, from our society, there is a gap. And this gap is needed to be bridged out. For that, National Education Policy 2020 talks about reforms. It is talking about changes, and the teacher is going to play a major role in that change. Everyone is knowing that teacher saves the nation. So National Education Policy 2020 re-establishes that part, that teacher has to be established as the main mentor for implementation of these changes. Nowadays, we are talking about future skills and learning capability and ideal institutions. What are the capabilities? What are the qualities an institution must have? Here, the learner must be welcomed because he must be taken care about. He should have the complete access to the environment. He must have a infrastructure to learn right from the beginning, as our ancient learning and ancient thought of Indian philosophy talked about pursuit of knowledge, that is jnanam, pursuit of satya, truth, and pragya, wisdom. And even in our Vinova University, our logo states that Jivanam Satyam Sodhanam. We search for the truth. So ultimate aim of our education must be that. And this new education policy is talking about that. There are many things which our distinguished guest speaker will speak about in this webinar. I once again welcome all our participants, especially guest speakers, so that we can learn about the things by their golden words. Thank you all.
Thank you. It's time to invite our guest speaker, Dr. Yogesh Shrilankar, who earned his PhD in Engineering Education from Harvard University, USA, a unique and first of its kind doctoral program in the world. He holds MS in Electrical Engineering and MD in Mathematics and Instructional Specialist, both from the University of Health USA. His BE is in Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering from Mumbai University, India. Dr. Velankar has also held his high mathematics teacher certificate in the US and is a Six Sigma Green Belt holder. Presently, Dr. Yogesh Velankar is Professor, Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering and Principal Campus of Technology, Bangalore, India, to share his valuable thoughts on perspectives on implementation of NEP 2020 roles of faculty.
Yes, a very good afternoon to all of you, and a warm welcome to all the members present here. At the outset, I would like to congratulate the TechWeb 3 program and express my sincere gratitude to both the institutions, Alagappa Chettiar Government College of Engineering and Technology, Karaikudi, as well as University College of Engineering and Technology, Vinoba Bhave University at Hazaribagh. Both the institutions, being the mentor and the mentee institutions, it seems, have come together and jointly organized this deliberation on NEP 2020. And they have given me a great opportunity and a wonderful platform to interact with all of you. And this afternoon, what I would like to do is uh, have a dialogue and a discussion with all the members present here with respect to the salient aspects of NEP 2020. We will have an overview of what it is all about. And then I would like to discuss with you some perspectives on implementation of the policy, especially from the lens of role of faculty as a thematic area for our discussion. So with that, let me quickly share my screen. Just give me a minute here. Yeah, I think now it is coming up. Okay, fine. So I think now you can see my screen. So I'm Dr. Yogesh Velankar, currently with Cambridge Institute of Technology. And let us begin our discussion today. The topic is, as I mentioned, perspectives on implementation of NEP 2020, and especially let us talk about the role of faculty. So, before I begin, I just wanted to share some of my experiences, especially over the last few months, how I have been closely involved with the NEP 2020, and especially on the implementation aspects. So, as you all know, NEP 2020 was launched for the entire nation in the middle of last year. So, it's been almost 6 months now since the policy is dedicated to the nation. And ever since the launch of the policy, I think all of you must be aware at all levels of our policymakers, government, educational ecosystem, right from school education to higher education. There has been a tremendous reform. There has been a great transformation that is proposed through this policy. And after the very intense participative nature of the development of the policy, finally when it was launched and, as I said, dedicated to the nation, from then onwards, in the last 6 to 7 months, there have been intense discussions all over the country. I'm sure you must have witnessed a lot of webinars, a lot of gatherings where the entire nation is talking about the implementation aspects of the policy now. And a lot of brainstorming is going on across all quarters, as I mentioned, starting from school education to higher education. Several distinguished academicians, along with government officials and policymakers, and everybody from all the regulatory agencies or our Ministry of Education, everybody is involved in really thinking about how do you execute some of these recommendations in the policy, what might be some of the pitfalls, and how do we overcome them. So, fortunately, as I said, over the last few months, especially, I have been working with Inter University Center for Teacher Education, which is in short IUCTE. It is located at Banaras, and it is an apex body of teacher education in higher education under UGC. So, it was, I think you all may know, UGC along with MOE, Ministry of Education, has formulated 9 commissions wherein, especially in the higher education sector, they have broken down the various aspects into 9 major areas, thematic areas. And they have formulated 9 commissions to come up with a report and a roadmap for implementation. So, through my work with IUCT over the last several months, I had a chance and an opportunity to contribute to the roadmap, the implementation roadmap, and especially related to the theme of developing capable, motivated, and energized faculty. So I've been giving it a lot of thought and having lots of discussions with faculty members all across the nation on various platforms such as these. And through those kind of deliberations and discussions, we were able to put forward certain concrete suggestions, some very concrete action items that can be taken to ensure that the policy is actually implemented in its true letter and spirit. Okay. So we will discuss some of those aspects along with all of you. But before we do that, let us quickly have a look at some of the important aspects of the policy. let us begin with the vision. The policy actually envisages that the curriculum and pedagogy of our institutions must develop among the students a deep sense of respect towards the fundamental duties and constitutional values, bonding with one's country, and a conscious awareness of one's role and responsibilities in a changing world. As you can see, there is a lot of emphasis on the curriculum, the pedagogy, and not just for the sake of subject matter knowledge, but really a more holistic personality development of the student, wherein the student has exposure to the morals, the values, and the role and responsibility as a citizen of our nation and a global citizen as well. So the idea is we want to empower our students to be contributing members of the society, to really understand their place in this dynamic world and how they can make a difference. And this really requires a shift in what we do, in the so-called classroom. See now, classroom, the moment we utter the word classroom, it is just an indicator of any teaching learning environment, whether it is, enclosed within four walls or whether it is, beyond those four walls, anytime, anywhere, online or wherever it is. So the idea of that learning environment, which has to be such a way, or the pedagogy that goes in that learning environment has to be such that the students are given an opportunity of not only the instruction should not be geared towards just what to think, but how to think, or that is the kind of major shift, I would say, is coming about. And that is going to be the emphasis even with respect to our examinations or assessment and evaluation. The idea is to move away from rote memorization, rote learning, because we want to develop a deep sense of understanding within our students, not only at a surface level, but at a very, very deep level, at a conceptual level, so that students are well prepared for any kind of future careers or future work options that they want to select. So, having said that, it is important that this kind of a policy, really needs to foster higher order thinking skills in our students. But how can that be possible? Let us look at some of the major reforms that are being proposed, and then let us think about what is going to be the role of the faculty in implementation of these reforms. Okay. So, in the first part of the presentation, I just want to have a quick overview of some of the major changes that have been proposed, especially in the higher education space. And then we can deliberate upon the role of faculty. Okay. So let us have a quick glance at some of these important aspects. So the aspiration is to have the GER go up to even 50% and beyond in the next 10 to 15 years, right? And then there is a lot of emphasis on holistic and multidisciplinary education, where the students will have the flexibility of the subjects. Undergraduate programs may be 3 or 4 years. So if a student decides to leave after 3 years, this kind of a multiple entry, multiple exit idea is now possible. They may decide to rejoin after taking a break for whatever reasons. And even if they are exiting the program, they might walk away with a degree or a diploma or a certificate based on the duration of their study. Similarly, an integrated 5 years bachelor's and master's program is also being planned. And this can be coupled with what we call as a credit transfer and an academic bank of credits policy, wherein students will be able to take up courses from, let's say, multiple institutions, or not only from institutions per se, not only just the brick and mortar institutions, but even from online education providers. So it might be a course on a MOOC platform or something along those lines, wherein students can start accumulating a number of credits and then collectively put together, depending upon their program of study. As I said, the idea is to give a multidisciplinary exposure for the students, so that they can have this basket of credits, and they can design their own degree programs to suit their interest as well as their abilities. The next point here is higher education institutions will evolve into, let's say, what we call as research intensive or teaching intensive universities, and they may become autonomous degree granting colleges. But standalone institutions, currently we may have engineering institutions or pharmacy colleges or architectural colleges or, so on and so forth. But the idea is to evolve what we call as a multidisciplinary education and research university, wherein a group of institutions can form a cluster and start offering the multiple domains of study under a single roof. So this idea of a MERU is also being proposed, and we would like to see, at least one MERU, what we can call Meru, in or near every district, so that it becomes easily accessible to students, irrespective of their place of residence. Okay. So let us continue and look at some more suggested reforms. Autonomy is another major thrust area wherein graded autonomy is being thought about, and we would like to phase out our current affiliation system, let's say, in the next 10 to 15 years. This is very important to give the freedom and the flexibility to institutions to innovate, whether it's in the matter of pedagogy, technology, administration, governance, and you name it. Let's think about that, right? Next, very important, national mission on mentoring is also being proposed. I'm sure, especially in the TechWeb program, both your institutions, one as a mentor and one as a mentee, have cherished and really enjoyed the benefits of this mentoring relationship, wherein both the mentor and the mentee benefit from this mutual learning. And definitely, this kind of provisions, if they are set in motion, it will raise the quality, it will raise the standards of many of our institutions who might be struggling or who are trying to go to the next level, but they just need that extra support. So, in mission mode, there is this proposal of launching a national mission on mentoring. And as I said earlier, especially in the TechWip 3 program, the mentor mentee relationship has been given a lot of importance. And through your twinning activities, I'm sure many of you have benefited over the last several years. Again, an independent board of governors is also being proposed so that there can be transparency, there can be, streamlining of strategic decisions, and definitely quality can be of uh, prime importance. It is also proposed to think about a single regulator, some kind of a merger or, a reorganization of bodies such as UGC or AICT, so that there can be a single regulator with, maybe four different verticals to look into various matters, whether they're governance, whether they're financial, whether they're academic or administrative. Then instead of, an inspection type of thing, the idea is to move towards a self-disclosure based transparent system. And then, of course, there is a lot of disparity between public and private institutions. So it is desirable to have common norms for both public and private institutions. Also, you must have noticed in the recent budget announcements, we are trying to reach, 6% of the GDP investment in education. So let us see. I think definitely that is a commitment, and that is what we are going to try and attempt to do. Okay, so I think I have highlighted most of the major reforms. There are a few more. I will continue with that. Before I go any further, let me just go back to the our participants and check in with you. I know there are more than 45 participants who have joined in. Let me just take a brief pause and try to address any questions or queries that you may have at this time. And then we will continue with a few more reforms. And please do continue to think about, in all these suggested reforms, basically what is going to be the role of faculty, how faculty can contribute, how does it impact your routine work, and what really changes on the ground. I think let us all think about this as we continue our discussion. All right, so I would request, I am now with the participant list. Anybody would like to say anything? If you have a question, a comment, or any clarification that might be required, any concerns, you may probably just unmute yourself. If there is more than one participant who unmutes, we will just speak one at a time. But in the meantime, you can unmute yourself and express your queries or concerns, any observations you may have. You can also use the chat box and type your comments or any observations you have. So let us use the chat box, and you can feel free to unmute and talk to us. Go ahead. Yeah. So initially, I will
Sir, good
give you
afternoon, sir.
a volunteer. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Who is
Sir,
this? Just kindly introduce
I'm Doctor.
yourself. And
Sir, I'm Dr. Rangarajan from Muttaimal Engineering College, Salem.
okay.
Sir, it seems that the number of credits are reduced, and the main focus is now going towards the online courses. So, is it create any impact on the regular faculties working?
Yeah, very good question, sir. So,
Thank you, sir.
yeah. See, and I will come to this, the role of technology, and definitely the use of technology is another major thrust area of the policy. I will talk about it a little bit more later on. But since you asked the question right now itself, definitely we can discuss, what is the role of technology. And I think, the broader question is about, is technology going to replace the faculty? I think that is a broader question under which context many of these doubts are lingering in the minds of the faculty. That if everything becomes online, then what are we supposed to be doing? Or even this is just in general. I'm sharing my observations. I've heard this concern from several faculty all across the nation, and I'm just trying to classify it in this broader context. So one thing I would like to just say, like the role of faculty is really, really crucial no matter what. And technology just being a tool for the delivery of the content, or the way that pedagogical approach is being executed. So technology is just a tool to ensure that your learning outcomes are met. Technology by itself is not going to work, but you definitely need to put in that kind of instructional design to take the best out of the technology available to you. So one thought that crosses my mind is, especially with relation to the role of faculty and technology, is it's not that technology is going to replace the faculty, but it may be so that faculty who use technology, or who are conversant with technology, will definitely get a lot of opportunities, rather than those who are completely devoid, or uh, are completely unfamiliar with the technological advances, because that is going to be here to stay. I think this pandemic has also shown us the power of the technology, how it can really we can convert it to our advantage, and to ensure continuity in the teaching learning process. So yes, that is going to be an important aspect going forward, and sooner or later, most of us have to familiarize ourselves and see where it is leading us. Okay, good. I hope I have addressed your question at least to some extent.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So we have a couple of comments and questions in the chat box. Ranjit Kumar is asking, what is the importance of research in higher education? So Ranjit, research is of prime importance. Really, if we want to innovate, if we want to become a knowledge superpower, definitely we have to put in a lot of emphasis on research and development. And even through the formation of, in fact, I'm going to talk about that, but it's a great time to bring it up. There is also going to be the formulation of a national research foundation. So this national research foundation is also being proposed in the policy, which will be a overarching entity uh, to streamline all R&D activities. So, and there will be a lot of funding, I think, even in the funding aspects. You must have seen in the recent budget announcement, a lot of funding also has been allocated for research activities and the NRF, what we are talking about. So, yes, it's going to be very, very important. Okay, so Nitish Kumar is saying he's a student of UCET Hazaribagh and currently working as public servant. He's not criticizing the policy, but the question is this policy equally applicable to the development of education of areas where children have never gone to school or college? So, Nitish, I just want to mention this policy has been formulated keeping the needs and the requirements of our entire population in mind. This is not a policy for a certain region or a certain geographical area or a certain type of people. It is a policy for the entire nation, and I think it greatly recognizes the various socio-economic conditions of our student community. It recognizes that there are going to be differences in the way educational opportunities have been you know applicable for different sections of the society. And the fundamental pillars of the policy are, if you recall, it is all about equity, equality, access, and to provide a sustainable learning environment, and also in sync with the UN's. I think earlier in the opening remarks, it was you heard the mention of the UN's SDGs, which are the Sustainable Development Goals. So, goal number 4 really talks about this quality education, and it is applicable for all sections of the society, not trying to leave anybody out of this, out of the ambit of the policy. So, please make yourself aware of this. And through forums such as this, I'm happy that we are able to address these kind of questions and concerns, and let us continue to have more dialogue on what this policy is all about and what really needs to happen, especially with the faculty's role or the student role, and various other thematic discussions that we need to continue to have to raise our awareness of this NEP 2020. Okay, good. Anything else? Anybody else? You may feel free to unmute. Okay, fine. Let me continue. In the meantime, you can also type in the chat box if anything comes to your mind. So I'm sharing my screen once more. I think we discussed this. Let us continue with some more reforms that are being proposed. So NRF is something I just talked about. A lot of emphasis on research is being given. The next important idea is internationalization of education. So what do we mean by this? Internationalization means what? As I said, we really want to have global best practices. We want our education institutions to compete with the best in the world, and we want to learn from the best. So now it is being made easier for foreign institutions to set up their educational activities within our nation. And instead of our brain drain, we really want to promote India as a preferred destination for education. So we would want to promote this idea of study in India rather than study out of India. So internationalization really means just to get that international exposure, our students don't really need to leave the nation, but we can give them the flavor of internationalization where they currently are. So a lot of possibilities do exist, whether it is exchange of faculty, exchange of students, joint, academic programs, exchange of research activities, MOUs, all kinds of things are possible here. And definitely, I'm sure that our students will get a global exposure through this kind of internationalization of education. Then there is this idea of integration of vocational, teacher, and professional education. And as I mentioned earlier, standalone institutions will have to evolve into multidisciplinary ones. So that is also something that is coming up. Here, please note that the nation realizes that yes, there have been certain sections, certain geographical regions, which we can call as disadvantaged regions. So there is a provision to set up a special education zone. I think earlier one of the questions was what happens to those disadvantaged regions or disadvantaged sections of the population. So there will be definitely a special focus on that, and also on the languages, and also on the technology front. So National Education Technology Forum is also being proposed, NETF, which will be again an umbrella body to bring together all the digital learning initiatives and really streamline and explore the next generation of educational technology and provide a lot of advisory services to higher education institutions as to how best they can use technology for the benefit of the students, and to improvise the teaching learning process, to improvise the assessment and evaluation process, and really make an impact on the quality of education. Okay. Another change that is very much visible, MHRD used to be, now it has been renamed as Ministry of Education. I think we also heard in the opening remarks, there is a greater focus on Indian knowledge systems, languages, cultures, and values. So language is given a lot of importance. Look at this. There will be also national institutions which will be developed for the promotion of languages and literature. And the cultural awareness of our Indian knowledge systems is also on the cards. And to promote our traditional art forms, there is a provision for institutions to have what we can call as an artist in residence. So these artists in residence are, these local experts from that particular region who are really good at something that can be called as a traditional art, and they can be invited to the campuses to share their knowledge with the rest of the stakeholders. So all these things are very much possible, and as I said, use of technology, whether it is teaching, learning, administration, or regulation, it is here to stay. And then, of course, within that also, there will be a greater focus on increasing the access for disadvantaged groups, or to create Divyang-friendly education software. And again, look at the dominance of one of the languages on our current higher education in the higher education domain. But hence, there is a lot of opportunity to develop e-content in regional languages so that this can be available to all sections of the population. Virtual labs, again, those especially from the science and engineering background, you are very much familiar with this. And this NETF, again, as I mentioned, is an entity which will bring all these things together under a common umbrella. The focus will be really digitally equipping schools, teachers, and students. We want to make sure there is capacity building happening at all levels, so that we can make judicious use of educational technology and ensure that it is really beneficial for all those who are directly or indirectly impacted by it. These were some of the major reforms. Really, now the question we are trying to address. And by the way, there is nothing else on this slide besides, just the title, which now we have to think. We are really having a blank slate, so to say, in front of us. That what exactly is the role of faculty? What does it mean when we say, all these are the proposed changes? Whether it is internationalization, whether it is the mentoring aspects, or whether it is becoming autonomous, or whether it is fostering a curriculum that promotes how to think, that fosters the higher order thinking skills. or the emphasis on educational technology. So what exactly do faculty have to do in all of these things? It's really important for us to think about it, and I'll be very happy to get your viewpoints and your perspectives so that we can really expand our horizons and really think in a holistic manner. So, with that, I would like to invite some of our participants to come forward and share your views on what faculty can contribute, especially now, that so much reform and such a high level of transformation is being proposed. How exactly can we contribute, and what we can do? See, definitely there is a role for faculty. Definitely there is a role for academic leaders, administrators, or even policymakers to make things happen. But I believe most of you are faculty members, so I thought let us quickly have this discussion, and we have another 5-10 minutes. I would be very happy to get your viewpoints and your suggestions. So at this time, let me call upon yeah, I think there is also a Google form, but let us listen to it. Listen from your own in your own words. Perhaps I can ask some of you to unmute, and you can share with us what you are thinking about. So let us start with Soumya. Go ahead. Please unmute yourself. Soumya. Okay. Perhaps for some reason you are not able to unmute. Next, we can go to Deepak Kumar. I hope you have the privileges to unmute yourself. Otherwise, the moderator or the host can take care of it. Deepak Kumar. Otherwise, we can go to Abhishek Raj. Abhishek Raj, are you there? Is there anybody from the host institution?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I think participants can unmute themselves,
Yeah,
correct?
definitely, sir. Some of the students have also joined, sir, to know about the national education policies. So these are students.
Very good.
So,
Yeah, so anybody who has joined can express their views. It's not
yes,
just
sir.
that they need to be faculty.
Yeah,
Whoever is in the conversation, their views are most welcome.
yes, sir. They can unmute themselves, sir. No
Yeah,
restriction.
okay, very nice. So I'm going to call out their names. So when they don't respond, it can mean several things, and we can make our own judgments about what it is. But we can also suspend our judgment, and we will give our participants a chance to talk to us. I'm not sure why they don't want to
So
talk
I
to
think,
us. There are many
so I think it
reasons.
is, sir. I think it is not like that. So whenever we are
Uh,
attending the class, I think
yeah.
they are all become a student. So
Yes.
whenever we put a question to the student, they
Yeah.
they keep silent like that.
Yeah, don't
But
worry. So the silence doesn't bother us. We'll just keep asking. So it's fine. There are many reasons. And especially with the technology, sometimes there are a lot of internet connectivity issues, and so many other things are happening in the background. So we completely understand that. But I
so
would also like,
I think this is the first thing that faculty has to came out so that we can expect some good thing from the student.
yes, yes. Great. So let us invite their views once again. Maybe Muskan can unmute and talk to us, or we have then perhaps Prem Kumar is next, or Jasmita. Go
Sir,
ahead, Jasmita. Jasmita.
coordinator Madaswamy from Malawi Care College of Engineering and Technology. So I have a
Okay.
doubt, sir.
Okay.
So regarding the entrepreneurship, so what steps are going to be taken by the government for students to become
I'm
an
sorry,
entrepreneur?
regarding which issue?
Entrepreneur. Because the main
Yeah,
motto of this NEP 2020 is making more and more entrepreneurs. So from government side, what are the supports to be given? So, sir, what are the
yeah.
supports
If you
are planned to give?
Yeah, fine. Now I think I understood your question. So, just to make entrepreneurs is not just the main focus of NEP 2020. Yes, of course, we want students to have a lot of career options and becoming entrepreneurial in their activity, not just thinking about placements, is definitely going to be a focus area. And the government, whether it is at the state level or at the central level, I think you have not just when this policy was announced, but even before that, you have heard of certain initiatives taken by the government already. Things such as the Startup India or the Make in India initiatives, which are going to really help. And there is a lot of provisions and opportunities created for the students so that they can pursue this kind of entrepreneurial ventures if they so desire. So yes, there is a lot of support, and definitely that is something that can be encouraged. That is being encouraged, and there are a lot of schemes, a lot of scholarships, or a lot of funding opportunities. I would say at various levels for students to really get into an entrepreneurial mindset from the very beginning. So yes, I think there is a focus, and there is also a support system in place.
So
Yeah.
once again, I have
So
some
we
doubts, sir.
can go
Sir,
for another. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Please.
Sir,
sir,
one more question.
sir,
So as per NEP 2020,
Yeah.
is it really benefits, sir?
Yeah. What do you think? Is it beneficial or not beneficial?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes. So according to me, I think really it is not going to be a beneficial benefit the MPhil degree discontinuation. So as per your view, kindly guide us, sir.
Yeah. So my viewpoint is, if the policy remains a policy on paper, then yes, it is not going to be beneficial. But if we think
Yeah.
about the implementation part of it very seriously, and that is where, especially what I'm trying to focus on today is all of us have to think, what is going to be our own individual as well as collective role in the implementation of this kind of, transformative ideas, because this is how we are going to move forward. But it is not, somebody else is not going to do this for us. We have to do it for ourselves and for those around us, so that collectively we can all make a difference. As I said, if it remains a paper document, paper in the sense, even if it stays stagnant, if no action is taken on this, then yes, then it is of no use. But if we are serious about the implementation, if we want to, understand our role and responsibility, then yes, it is a policy which can bring in a lot of reform and a lot of transformation in the way we educate, and in the way we really think about our teaching and learning, and in the way we think about our careers, and how we can really become a global destination for education, offering the best in class educational experience to students from all across the world. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
sir, second question,
Yeah, go ahead.
sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I think the NEP says that there is a common syllabus for all, whether it is a deemed university or university, or it may be whatever it may be. For all educational institutions, there will be a common syllabus. Is it correct, sir?
No, not really. I mean, there is no common syllabus. In fact, the idea is to become, for the institutions to become autonomous. So once the institutions become autonomous, once the institutions evolve into what we call as a MERU, which is multidisciplinary education and research universities, in fact, the idea is to break, or, like move away from this disciplinary boundaries So we don't want just to think in terms of engineering, technology, social science, humanities as separate entities. We really want to give students a lot of flexibility, lot of exposure to multiple areas of study. And the idea is not at all to give a lot of uniform syllabus or a curriculum. The idea is for faculty in fact to innovate in matters of curriculum, in matters of pedagogy, and in matters of the use of technology. So in fact, the intention is to have a wide range of experiences, a holistic educational experience, and custom made curriculum that the students can also pick and choose. In fact, this idea of choice based curriculum roadmap, please think about it that way. So it is not that everyone will have just one common thing and that's it. So that is perhaps slightly a misconception here.
So then we can we have already existing universities, or they are all existing, or otherwise in other way I am asking. I doubt that who will issue the degree certificates, whether it's a common thing, or it is the degree are awarded by uh, as usual by regional universities.
No, so what it is proposed that some colleges will evolve into autonomous degree granting colleges. So that
That is what I
degree
am.
granting, yeah,
That is what I am asking,
degree
sir.
granting autonomy may also come to the colleges, but in other cases, maybe a group of colleges will form together what we call as a cluster. So like 4 or 5 institutions coming together in different domain areas, they might form a MERU, which is a multidisciplinary education and research university, and that might be the degree granting authority.
Thank you, sir. That is why I am asking. There
Yes.
is I have some confusion with the word. That is, some institutions are given degree granting award. Just I have some confusion with the words. And
Yeah, yeah. I
they
think
tell that
yeah. I think as and when we get the more this is coming up very soon. This merger of all the AICT or UGC and like this higher education regulatory authority. Once that comes into existing, many of these things might be more clearer in the days and the weeks ahead. All
thank you,
right.
sir.
Thank you so much. We have time for maybe one last question, query, observation from anyone. I'll be happy to take your questions. Anything else that is on your mind with relation
Yes,
to
sir.
this?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay.
I think that government should have applied some system which work on the skills of student.
Yeah. So Sakshi, just introduce yourself. What are you currently doing?
So I'm from UCIT. I'm just a student, first year student of ECE, Electronic and Communication Engineering.
Okay, very nice. Sakshi, in fact, I have not mentioned it in my deliberation so far, but there is a very, very big emphasis on skill development, and that too starting from, let's say, like the school education level, which might be even from the sixth grade
Yes, sir.
onwards. So, in fact, what was often called as extracurricular activities, now it is being proposed that there will be no hard separation between curricular and extracurricular, or like hard science or soft science or anything like that. The idea is to really integrate, and as I mentioned, to promote our traditional arts, traditional skills, and really give students that hands-on experience right from the early childhood development all the way up to their higher educational levels. So we want to put a greater emphasis on what we used to call this vocational education. So even that is what we want to make it mainstream, and hence that is how we want to proceed going forward. So definitely there is a lot of opportunity for skill development, as I said. in the formal education framework itself.
Okay, so thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for your observation. With that, I know there are probably some more questions in the chat box. Unfortunately, now we are running out of time. I know there are other speakers who are also here with us. And at this time, I wish to express my sincere gratitude once again to both the institutions. Under the TechWeb 3 program, you have organized this kind of interaction. I'm happy to discuss, even at another time with all of you to think about the various aspects, the various dimensions of this policy, and really come up with a lot of good ideas on the implementation front. So thank you, thank you everyone, and it's been a pleasure. I would pass on the platform back to the hosts, and I'm sure we will get to learn many more things from our next set of speakers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. To establish true self-esteem, we must concentrate on our success and forget about the failures and the negatives in our lives. For being attached with this thought, we definitely need guidance of some experts. Here, we welcome our guest speaker, Dr. R.P. Singh Ratan, ex-director, BAU and Dean, Rai University, Ranchi, to handle this session.
Sir, you will need to unmute your microphone. You're not audible.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello, now I am audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you are.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I would like to first of all extend my thanks to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to participate in this valuable discussion that is on higher education policy, particularly in context of the National Education Policy 2020. As you all know, the very purpose of education is man making. Swami Vivekananda had told that the very purpose of education is to make a man. Here, I would like to express that what is man making? Man making is first of all a man of character, a man of national pride, a man of humanity, but these are the matters related to principles of life. The overall emphasis nowadays on education is that it should be a livelihood provider. Education should be livelihood provider. Nowadays we are talking that very much unemployment is there in our country, and this issue should be addressed more preferably. But why this situation is? The situation is due to the fact that everybody wants government jobs. But there is limitation government jobs. And this National Education Policy 2020 emphasizes that we should have skills. We should have power of thinking, power of imagination. And this type of education we require nowadays. If we give emphasis on the youth today, the major target of educational system in our country is the children and the people between the age group of 19 to 25. These two target groups are dealt differently. One is dealt through pedagogy and another is dealt through both pedagogy and andragogy. When we talk of this andragogy requires not only the academic curricular, but it requires beyond that man making. How a man may be made, it requires other than the curricular activities which can improve the lifestyle of the people, lifestyle of the learner. And nowadays emphasis is on the equitable education, equity-based education. And in this national education policy, also the emphasis has been given on vocationalization of the education. When we see the educational system of our country till date, we visualize that only this bookish knowledge is not going to make the man. In the situation, in the circumstances, when a learner faces the real life situation, then he can experience, and through experiential learning, he could think very critical and different way. So I would like to emphasize here the professional education. First of all, vocationalization of higher education is required. What the earlier speaker was telling about the linkage between the primary or middle or secondary education to the higher education, and this linkage requires in vocationalization also. Vocational education is being seen as a very poor grade education, but when we want to give employment to the people, the youth, the vocationalization of education is required, and much space has been given in this national education policy on vocationalization of particularly the higher education. Secondly, professional education is very important, and professional education like agriculture, like law, like health sciences, and many other sciences, engineering, technology, other disciplines are there, where this professional education is required to be given much importance in order to provide job opportunities to our youth. So in this context, I would like to say that catalyzing quality academic research is required. And when this academic research is there, then the professional education may be made fruitful. And two things are also required. One is the ethics, and another is the public purpose. If two things are not there in this professional education, then the professional education is of no use of the society to the society. So professional education requires to be given emphasis in light of the job opportunities, and it should have purpose. Secondly, stand-one universities which are functioning in isolation. Nowadays, we are giving emphasis on multidisciplinary education, and several professional educational institutions are working in isolation, and that's why we call them as a stand-alone university. I shall give more emphasis on agricultural education here. In that light, you all know that of the total universities in the country, only 9% are the agricultural universities. And of the total enrollment in the country in the higher education, it is only 1% in agriculture and the related disciplines. Agricultural, we call it agricultural. It includes this agriculture, animal husbandry, veterinary, home science, fishery, many branches are there. So this has only 1% intake capacity of whole of the higher educational intake in the country. So when we give emphasis on opportunities and employment oriented education, in that light, agricultural education, agriculture and allied sciences is very important, because nowadays most of the youth or persons belonging to the higher education system are not wanting to do agriculture. The issue is very pertinent. You are seeing the scenario of the country, the Kisan Andolan. Of course, the government has already taken steps for doubling the income of the farmers. And apart from technological interventions, government is also giving thrust on the other issues which can increase the income of the farmers, like insurance, crop insurance, like MSP, and many other things are there. But here, our educational system, agricultural education system, requires to be overhauled so that the students could learn and love to work in agriculture. How it could be done? For this, we have to see that the return from doing agriculture should be as good as who are engaged in health services and other professional activities. So this requires complete overhauling, and in this educational policy, the emphasis has been given on that. Climate change is a challenge before agricultural education and others, of course. And this very important aspect is the skill. If skill is not underlined in the educational system, it will give only a theoretical education and it will be of no use. So, my point is that skill oriented education is required in agricultural systems, and professionals should be made to serve the people, serve the farmers. And since agriculture is a multidisciplinary subject, a farmer not only produce crops, he also takes fisheries, livestock, and many other vocational forestry, sericulture, lag culture, many other allied activity the farmers have. The education should be framed in the mode of a system approach, farming system approach, or whatever it should be in a system approach. So, agricultural education is to be revamped, and there is much space in the new agricultural policy and new education policy to serve this. Another important aspect is that the standard should be maintained in all the agricultural universities alike, which is not in present day. Somewhere the standard is high, means it should be on a normal basis. It should not be under standardized. So in this direction, the educationists have to see that why this is important and how it can be done. And lastly, I do not want to say many things on this juncture. Many things are related to the local knowledge, the traditional knowledge, the traditional system, values, practices, technologies, all are there. And in context of the globalization, in context of food and nutrition security, in context of enhancing farmers' income, how farmers' income could be increased? It could be increased not only through technology, but also through minimizing the cost of production, minimizing the cost of cultivation. And in that, the local knowledge and traditional knowledge may be very important, and it should be given due importance. And the new educational policy has given much importance to this system of knowledge. So these are my few submissions regarding new new educational policy, particularly in light of the vocationalization of education, professionalization of education, and the agricultural education. With this, thank you. And if any queries are there, any questions are there, I am here to say something about that. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, I am
Good
Nitish Kumar,
afternoon.
pass-out student of UCET Hazaribagh. Sir, I have a question
Okay.
regarding the new education policy. According to me,
Hmm.
sir, is this new education policy be able to cope up the challenge of the students, million of students which are graduated every year? Is this be able to cope
Yes.
up the challenges?
Yes, it has given much space for this problem. Only in Bihar or Jharkhand or Hazaribagh it is not. It is a national issue. And new educational policy has given much space, and there are several points for vocationalization of education. And education should be like not only for a principle or not for only for learning new things, but it should be life living. And there is much space for this in this education policy.
Actually, sir, as per policy, I have think that there are so many clause and uh, rules regarding the policies on the paper. But do you think, sir, is it equally applicable on the ground level, where the students are
Very,
not ever went to school, but we have made the policy for their higher education?
very good, very good. Your concerns are very welcome. And in that light, I have to say that if it is not translated into action, if it is only in the paper and not translated into action, it will be of no use. And for translating it into action, the first responsibility is the of the policymakers, second administrators, third teachers, and fourth students. All these four stakeholders have to come together on one platform and think holistically. Then it could be translated into action. Your concerns are very good.
Actually, sir, one my request or suggestion is that these type of activities should be done on the ground level so that student can make aware of these policies and take benefit of these policies, sir.
Right? Right? It should come on the table from below. आपका कहना ठीक है, नीचे से आना चाहिए.
Yes, sir.
You are
Exactly.
correct.
I want to say like that. We should start this
Yes,
implementation of policies from the ground level, such like that, bottom from the top, not from the top to
yes,
bottom, sir.
it should come from below. Right.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, I extend my hearty welcome to Dr. Praveen Kumar, sir, who obtained his Master of Technology degree and PhD degree from Birla Institute of Technology, Mesra Deemed University, Ranchi, Jharkhand, India. Presently, Professor Kumar has been serving as Nodal Officer, Academics and Development, SPIU, Jharkhand, to handle this session.
Please unmute your mic, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so very good afternoon, one and all.
Good afternoon, sir.
So my PPT is already shared. It is visible?
Yes, sir. But now it's not.
PPT right now?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So once again, thank you very much for inviting me for deliberation on the topic of National Education Policy 2020. So I am thankful to our USET coordinator, Professor Arun Kumar Mishra ji, and also mentor institution. So both of them, they are mentor or mentee institution. They are responsible for the TCUP 3 phase 3 implementation. Both Algappa Chetriyar Government College of Engineering Technology, Raipur, Tamil Nadu. So I am thankful to our mentor institute also. And previous speaker, Dr. Yogesh Velankar, they had already focused few salient points on the NEP 2020. And second speaker, Dr. R.P. Sriratan, they have also elaborated much more about the National Education Policy 2020 beyond this NEP 2020 also as well. Yeah. So coming to the introductory part. So Dr. Mishra, they have requested me so kindly enlighten us regarding starting from since inception to the concluding remarks. So that's why I have prepared this initial introduction. So how it has been evolved starting from the last national education policy. So the national education policy 20 has been approved by the Union Cabinet first of all in the month of July 29th, 2020. NEP 2020 is the first education policy of the 21st century, which aims to address of many growing developmental imperatives of our country and is aligned to the agenda of sustainable development 2030. The National Education Policy 2020 is built on the foundational pillar of access to the people, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability as well. So there are four stages they have categorized and proposed in the National Education Policy 2020. Recommends many transformative ideas for school education. The new education policy emphasizes to ensure universal access, not confined to the particular region, localization. It is, has been emphasized to ensure universal access to high quality ECE across the country in phased manner. A special attention they have given and priority also be given to district and the location, regional level that are particularly socio-economically disadvantaged. So they have already focused, they have already studied. There are various measures, tools, parameters they have applied before coming to the conclusion of this NEP 2020. So this system, they have categorized and revised from earlier one at 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So what does he mean by the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4? Curricular and pedagogical structure based on the cognitive and socio-emotional development stages of the children. NEP 2020 they have
been proposed. First one is the foundational stage, which includes age group of between 3 to 8 years, 3 years of the pre-primary plus grades 1 and 2. And second one, the preparatory stage, which includes the age group level 8 to 11, grade 3 to 5. Third one is the middle stage, 11 to 14 years, and last one is the secondary stage. This is the foundational level up to the secondary level, 14 to 18 years. So they have NEP 2020. It has been proposed in their 4 groups. So it also ensures the foundational literacy and numeracy in the mission mode, and a host of curricular changes and reduced content load in school education system, as well as assessment reforms for the holistic overall development of the child students. They have particularly focused about the development, holistic development of the child. So there will no hard separation between earlier speaker. They also focused, they elaborated about there are no hard separation, boundary line they have drawn between the arts and sciences and other discipline as well. Particularly curricular and extracurricular activities between vocational academy streams, etc. So National Education Policy 2020 promotes active pedagogy, high impact teaching skills, development of core capacities, values, and life skills, including 21st century skills, experimental learnings at all ages, starting from the childhood to up to the university, low stake board exams. How the holistic progress card it comprises all the activities in one progress card. If you will see their progress card, child progress card, then it can be visualized all their performance, starting course curriculum and non-course curriculum as well. So mainstreaming of vocationalization, education, and reforms in teacher education also. So ultimately, NEP 2020 also puts focus on the empowerment of teachers and improving their recruitment, service conditions, transfer policy, and career progression opportunity at all levels. So the National Professional Standard for Teachers will specify norms and standards for different level of teachers. So it will be categorized based on their norms and standards. So recommendations are also made for using unutilized capacity of the school infrastructure to promote social, intellectual, and volunteer activities for the community and to promote social cohesion during non-teaching schooling hours or schools to be used as the Samajik Chetna Kendra. So these, center or Kendra that has been already proposed in NEP 2020. It recommends mother tongue, home language, local language as medium of instruction during school level, during other higher education levels also. So mother tongue, home language, local language. So as a medium of instruction, at least grade 5 at later stage, wherever possible, where it is applicable. So policy envisages separation of regulatory, administrative, and policy making functions to eliminate conflict of interest and setting up a state school standard authority. So these are the first part. I am intentionally focusing because NEP comprises there are 4 parts. First part elaborates this school standard system. So there are also greater emphasis on technology to improve multiple aspects of education, including learning assessment, planning, and administration. So ultimately, what actually NEP 2020 has made, they had provision. So with the help of, here, vision of the NEP policy is envisions an India-centric education system. Earlier speaker, they have focused traditional knowledge, ethics, values, local knowledge, mother tongue, regional, like that. So, vision of National Education Policy 2020 envisions an India-centric education system that contributes directly to transforming our nation's sustainability into an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high-quality education to all. So, NEP 2020 enacts numerous changes in India's education policy. It aims to increase state expenditure on education from around 4 to 6% of the GDP as soon as possible. It has already, planned. So this is the background how it has been evolved since inception, evolution of education policy, starting from the University Education Commission 1948 after independence, 49, followed by the Secondary Education System 1952-53, then Education Commission 1964-66, Kothari Commission and the National Policy on Education 1968, and the constitutional amendment. Yeah, so education in concurrent list, it had been already amended. So National Policy on Education 1986, then NP 1986 modified in the 92, Program of Action 1992, TSR Subramanian Committee report, followed by the Kasturi Rangan Committee report 31st May 2019. So this is the evolution of education whole policy of our country. So NEP 2020 consultation process, this is the level of consultation process with the government of India by the different stakeholders from their views, their ideas, their feedbacks, they have already included in NEP 2020. So we may discuss about the major reforms what in context with the higher education. So first point, it has been mentioned here, 50% gross enrollment ratio by 2035. So this is the planning. Holistic and multidisciplinary education flexible subject, multiple entry and exit. If the people they are studying for particularly 4-year programs, if they would like to exit from the third year on itself, they may be get diploma degree like that. After completion of 4 years, then definitely they may get degree. So PG program 1 or 2 years, integral 5 years bachelor followed by the MPhil, it has been already discontinued. Credit transfer and academic bank of credit. So teaching and university and autonomous degree granting colleges, model disciplinary education and research university. So Velankar Sahab, Dr. Yogesh Velankar Sahab already discussed about this Meru model concept. So I have already discussed about the part. There are 4 parts in NEP 2020. First one is dealing with the school education system. Second one is the higher education system. So we are much more concerned about the higher education. Not, I'm not giving the least focus about the school. This is the foundation. Based on our foundation, other higher education and other education system also based on their foundation, child education system. So first part NEP 2020, they have given a categorization under the 1 to 8 themes. First one is the early child care and education. Second one, foundation literacy and numeracy, and curriculum pedagogy, teachers, equitable and inclusive education, learning for all, efficient resource planning governance through the school, and standard setting accreditation for education system also. And part two, and higher education. This is the thematic topics, quality university and college, a new forward-looking vision for the Indian higher education system. Followed by the institutional restructuring and consolidation towards a more holistic and multidisciplinary education. If the people, the students, they would like to take, civil engineering branch student, they would like to take some a paper from the computer science, electronic communication engineering, or science, they may take independently. Optimal learning environment and support for students. Motivated, energized, and capable faculty. Equity. So we are talking about the equity and inclusion in higher education. Very, very much focused way. And under the TQ category, the World Bank, they have given instruction and they have given guidelines for the equity action plan. First of all, you have to plan focused on the equity based, inclusion based in higher education. They may, after planning, we may implement phased wise. Teachers, teaching methodology, reimagining vocational education, catalyzing quality academic research in all fields through a new research foundation, transforming the regulatory system of higher education, effective governance and leadership for higher education system. So NEP 2020 of third part of NEP 2020, other key areas of focus: professional education, adult education, lifelong learning, promotion of Indian language, arts and culture, technology use integration, etc. And last one is part 4, making it happen, strengthening the Central Advisory Board of Education, financing for quality education for all, and last one is the implementation. So major reforms in higher education: graded autonomy, academy, administrative and financial, phasing out affiliation system in coming 15 years, national mission on mentoring, independent board of governors, single regulator for higher education, excluding legal and medical, one line self-disclosure based transparent system of approval in place of inspection. Nowadays, AICT and other regulatory authority, they would like to take visit physically. Now in the pandemic situation, they are visiting on a hybrid mode. There are 4 or 5 comprises in one committee. So one member of this committee, they are visiting to the ground reality, and after that they have to send their all ground report to other committee members for the making decision whether approval can be granted or not. So one online self-disclosure based transfer system, it may be removed. Inspection may be removed. In the place of inspection may be removed. On the line self-disclosure based transparency of the approval. So we have to disclose our system. We have to self-assessment report may be given to the regulatory body. So whatever infrastructure we have, whatever other resources we have, so on the basis of that, it may be awarded or approval may be granted. So that is good thing. Common norm for public and private higher education institution, private philanthropy partnership. So nowadays it is already implementing 3P, public-private partnership. So private philanthropic partnership in other countries, you may visit Europe and US. So philanthropic partnership, private university is already running off. It has been established. fee fixation within board regulatory frameworks. Public investment in education sector to reach 6% of GDP at the earliest. So major reforms, National Research Foundation, NRF, internationalization of education. So we are going to accredit, our country-based system NBA called NBA, National Board of Accreditation. So our degree is going to be recognized by our government-based regulatory authority, which is known as an NBA, particularly in the technical education. ABET is also there, international accreditation. So internationalization of education here, it can be promoted. So where we are stand, where our course structure, our course curriculum, and industry requirement, between the gap, where actually need to focus our resources for other stakeholders like faculty, other research and development areas like that. So we have to address those gap also. If we may reach up to the top, definitely we should address. Setting up the new quality higher education system has been made easier. Standard and professional education students will be involved into multidisciplinary special education zone for disadvantage. So now the TQ3 in context with the a special education zone, for only they are providing high funding to the focused stage. So Jharkhand itself has been categorized in the focus session out of 14 focus states across the country. So like that, the special education zone for the disadvantaged group, because our out of 24 districts, approximately 16-17 districts belongs to the scheduled area. What is scheduled area? More than 50% population of the total population is having with the tribal population comes under the scheduled area. So on the basis of that a special education zone may be instituted. National Institute for the Pali, Persian and Prakritic, National Education Technology Forum, next MHRD to be renamed. Yeah, earlier all are aware. So we have focused through the NEP 2020 Indian knowledge system, traditional knowledge system, language, culture, values, ethics, etc. Strengthening the National Institute for Promotion of Classical Language and Literature, Indian Institute of Translation and Interpretation, cultural awareness of our Indian knowledge system, promoting traditional arts and Lok Vidya, school complex have artists in residence. Yeah, of course, use of technology is playing a vital role in nowadays in pandemic situation. If the people they are not aware with the ICT tools, so in this situation they have already suffered, either maybe teachers, maybe students, whosoever. So use of technology is also playing a greater role for imparting of the to the students by the mentors, teachers. So use of technology in the teaching, learning, assessment, administration, management, all these areas or system, they have very good addressed using the present tools and technology of ICT, information communication technology. in digital way. Increasing access for this marginal group, Divyang-friendly education software, e-content in regional languages, virtual labs, National Education Technology Forum, already discussed, digitally equipping schools, teachers, and students. So these are some salient points for the school education system transformation. Outcomes, yeah. So what is actually maybe expected outcomes of NEP 2020? Universalization from earlier one, secondary one by 2020, it has planned aligning with the Sustainable Development Goal, attaining foundation learning and numeracy skill through national mission by 2025. 100% gross enrollment ratio in preschool to secondary level by 2030. It has already in vision up to the 2030, 2025, bring back 2 crore out of school children. Teachers to be prepared for assessment reforms by 2023, inclusive and equitable education system by 2030. So like that, it has been already planned. Here are the important feature or highlight of new education policy 2020 regulatory system for higher education to be distinct for regulation, accreditation, funding, and academic standard setting. All under the umbrella of Higher Education Commission of India, known as HECI, Higher Education Commission of India. So under this is 4 vertical of HEC to be National Higher Education Deputy Council, or maybe known as HNERC, National Accreditation Council NAC, Higher Education Grant Council HEGC, and General Education Council GEC, which would further form a national higher education quality framework. UGC AICT to be replaced by a single higher education regulator, HECI. The professional council such as Indian Council of Agriculture Research, earlier Speaker Dr. R.P. Singhathan, they have already enlightened us. VCI, Veterinary Council of India, National Council of Teachers, NCT, Council of Architecture, various other, different regulatory authorities, NCVT, etc. will act Professional Standard Setting Board, PSSBS. Professional standards, all together they come under the Professional Standard Setting Boards. University to be renamed not on the basis of ownership, but on quality of education. So see, ultimately, NEP 2020, they have concluded on the basis of their university ranking or named based on their quality of education itself. So impetus from multidisciplinary education, even IIT, to move towards a more holistic curriculum with art and humanities as well. The undergraduate degree will be either 3 or 4 year duration with multiple exit option. Within this period, with appropriate certification, that is certificate after completing 1 year in a discipline or field including vocational, professional, whatever. Maybe diploma after 2 years of study or bachelor degree after 3 years program. The 4-year multidisciplinary bachelor program, however, shall be preferred option. A student pursuing 4-year degree program would have an option of getting a degree with research if the research process is completed in the area of study they have specified, they have assigned. National Research Foundation would be set up with goal to enable cultural or research. NRF would be governed independently by rotating board of governors. Primary task to NRF would be fund competitive, peer-reviewed grant proposal for all types of across all disciplines, and also act as a liaison between researchers and relevant branches of government, so as to allow breakthroughs. major reforms in NEP 2020 suggested in higher education to give more flexibility to the students. Our stakeholder is in university system or education system. The prime stakeholder is students. So students can choose any set of subjects for higher education. Higher education system take sabbatical and other option as National Education Policy draft was presented in the year of 2019, where it quickly received both appreciation as well as a strong criticism as well. So I have already deliberated in the slide, previous slide, so how it, evolved and followed by the, concluding remarks. So last slide I have intentionally put here because evolving mentoring system for educational leaders and faculty members. There are two assignments or positions. The people they are holding in education system. First one is the educational leaders. Of course, they are also teachers and faculty members. The technical and higher education institutions of India are implementing innovation and changes in academic research and services under the guidance of presently nowadays UGC and AIC. There are innovation in curricular, co-curricular and extracurricular activities of the institutions. Recently, Government of India came out with the National Education Policy 2020, which emphasized re-engineering and revamping higher education. What actually earlier we had. The educational leaders and faculty members should be competent, motivated, proactive, dedicated, and committed to implementing this innovation effectively and efficiently to improve the quality of education as a whole and achieve their excellence. To develop the educational leaders and faculty members, various training programs are being offered under the NEP phase 3 also. Faculty development program, feature skills, there are core areas, 9 technology core areas, the Government of India, they have identified. Training program is going on with the help of various IITs and IIMs for educating the teachers to implement this, phase 3 effectively and efficiently. So it requires mentoring, coaching, guidance, and counseling at the institute level to the students. So our ultimate, goal is make more employable, skillful, knowledgeable of the students. So these are some references I have consulted or taken information and compiled and prepared throughout this presentation. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We must find time to stop and thank the people who makes a difference in our lives. It's time to thank one and all who had spent their valuable time for us. For that, we welcome our program coordinator, Professor Ranjit Kumar sir, Head ECE, UCET, DTU, Hazaribagh to deliver vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. I am honored and lucky to give the vote of thanks on this special occasion. First of all, I would like to thank TEQIP3, the sponsor of this program and webinar, a wonderful webinar. I express my sincere thanks to directors, principals, faculty members, TechUp sales members, supporting staffs of ACCGCT, Karaikuri, Tamil Nadu, and UCET, Vinova Bhave University, Hazaribagh, Jharkhand. A big thanks to all the speakers for today's webinar. Dr. Yogesh Velankar, the principal, Cambridge Institute of Technology, Bengaluru, Dr. R.P. Singh's BAU and Dean, Rai University, Ranchi. Dr. Parveen Kumar, Nodal Officer, Academics, SPIU, Ranchi. I also express my special thanks to the TechUp coordinators of ACCGCT, Karaikudi, Tamil Nadu, Professor P. Medasamy, and TechUp coordinator of UCET, Hazaribagh, Professor Arun Kumar Misra, sir. I also thank Yajini ma'am for anchoring the session. I would like also thank to our audience for their valuable suggestions, patience, listening, and for their valuable times. At last, I would like to thank all the audience and members who directly associated or indirectly associate with this webinar to make this wonderful session. And with this permission of dignitaries present in this webinar, I would like to conclude this session. Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you very much. Over to Yasmin, ma'am.
Thank you all. Thank you all. A very good evening to all.
I also thank you all
Thank you, sir.
for your active participation. And very good evening. And special thanks to Arun Kumar Misra sir and Ranjit Kumar sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
So if you find time, kindly come to Karaikudi, sir. We will visit some places.
Definitely. After this pandemic is over, we will plan.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. So much, sir.
Thanks.
So all are requested to leave the session. Thank you.